Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to...
Now, talking about broadcasting, of all the professions in the world, why were you fascinated by broadcasting? Why did you choose broadcasting? Why did you opt for broadcasting?
Yeah, as I said, I grew up in the village, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And growing up, my father had a small transistor radio, one red transistor radio that relied on batteries, the direct battery of old. And so every evening, whenever he returned from the farm, he will always put the radio on, and we'll listen to, I think it was WMBS or so, from Ibadan. Ibadan was not really far from area. So, and we'll sit by the radio, we'll listen to music, we'll listen to the news, we'll listen to all of that. So I've always been fascinated by that, and always wanted to be like that voice that was coming from the radio. And at the point, it was not that we were staying all year round in the village. You come to the city for Christmas, for Easter, for holidays and all of that. And having been exposed to TV, I was fascinated by King Sunny Ade. I think I saw him on TV a couple of times, playing. And so I wanted to be like him. So I would gather my cousins and in the village, and we'll use empty milk cans. We make our own mic stand. We put it on. We use string, and we use the broom as our guitar. And then we start fooling around, pretending to be King Sunny Ade and all of that. So I've always, loved that right from my childhood. I think that was the major influence growing up.
All right. Now, you started your broadcasting career with FRCN in 1982. Yeah. What is your fondest memory of your time at FRCN?
Yeah. I was employed as a news assistant in the newsroom, and after a while, I wanted my voice. We were just in the newsroom assisting with the package of the news, and they were teaching us how to write news. At the point, they were sending us out to cover events and reports. You write your report and all of that. But I always wanted my voice on radio. I wanted to talk on radio. So I approached our head of news then, who gave me an opportunity and created a program for me called Kile Roi, who is like a vox pop program. We go into the city, we ask questions, we record, voices, comments of people, and we bring it back to the studio, we edit, and then you add the cues, cue in and cue out, and then we play back 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So that was my first, the first program that I handled. I went on radio, but I wanted more. And so when I was given the opportunity of presenting a musical show, I grabbed it. I think
the musical show that you presented. Can you still remember?
That was Balilayo. Balilayo was like drive home evening. I think it was running 4 to 5 thereabout way back 1983. That was the musical show then on Radio Nigeria, Abeokuta then.
Okay. Now I think if my understanding, the little I read up about you is correct. From Radio Nigeria, you ended up at OGBC. Am I correct? Were you at OGBC at all?
It wasn't that.
I know you were at Topic at some point.
Okay, I was at Topic. When the Buhari Idiagbo administration came in, well, the Buhari administration came in, they scrapped all the Radio Nigeria house stations, especially the ones in states like Abeokuta, Ikeja, Akure, and all, and returned Radio Nigeria to the old format of, the regional stations, Ibadan, Enugu, Kaduna, and all of that. So some of us were laid off. Some were given the opportunity of going to Ibadan, but I didn't want to go to Ibadan. I got a job with the State Property and Investment Corporation, and I was there for a year or so. And I went to the university, and then came back and joined OGBC. But all through the university, I was always coming around OGBC to, either assist in one program or the other. But when I finished from the university, I went back to OGBC.
Okay. Now, from OGBC, you went to Ray Power, where we got to know about you and everything. How would you sum up your experience? I know you're still there, but thus far, how would you sum up your experience working for Ray Power?
Well, it was, how do I put it? It was novel. Way back 1993, when we started Ray Power, it was something that was impossible. It was like the government was just taking a gamble. To many people, the government was not going to allow private radio, private television, because you recall that after the June 12 election, the crisis that followed and all of that, the interim government that came in, and then the military government, the military pushing the interim government away, and the crisis and all of that. That was when Ray Power birthed. We were in OGBC, and our team lead then was Olusegun Ekishola, who brought us together and just told us that Chief Raymond Dokpesi was starting a radio station. Of course, you recall that Chief Raymond Dokpesi happened to be an in-law to Kenny Ogungbe. Kenny Ogungbe was coming to OGBC then to present a musical program, and he was the one that convinced Chief Raymond Dokpesi to start a radio station. And so he spoke with Ekishola. Ekishola called us, young lads, and said, this was going to happen. So we didn't look back, because we had always wanted, let me say we were at the height of our fame in OGBC at that time. We were ruling the airwaves, we were ruling the Southwest, and we wanted something more, because working for government-owned radio station, there were limitations of what you could do, what you could not, the kind of music you could play, the kind of things you say on radio, and all of that. But the fascination to start a private radio was just too much for us to resist, to say, oh no, so we jumped at it, and then we came, met Chief Raymond Dokpesi, held several meetings, planning, and then December 1993, Ray Power birthed. And then some 1 or 2 weeks after Ray Power started, the military government, maybe just waking up to realize the hurricane that private radio was going to bring about, or was already bringing about, because Ray Power, being the first private radio, took the Lagos area and the Southwest by storm. And I think they were a little bit jittery. Abacha government was just settling down, was not really settled, because the crisis, the June 12 crisis, were, I think, at its peak when we launched. So, and they moved against us to say we should stop transmission. And so for about 9 months, between that December and September or August the following year, Chief Raymond Dokpesi had to go around Nigeria, crisscrossing Nigeria, knocking all doors, talking to and with whoever mattered, who could convince the government that rape power meant no harm and that they should allow us to operate. But it was tough. It was tough on convincing the military government then because of the June 12 crisis and the fallout and all of that. But by August 1994, I think the government saw reason and gave us or returned the provisional license